And welcome everyone to our Monday chat. I'm Andy Katz from March Madness and NCAA.com, looking at the Power 36 and the AP poll. First couple items are National Player of the Week, Marcus Zegorowski, 26 points for Creighton in the win over Villanova over the weekend. They're 2 games back of the Wildcats. Still a chance for the Creighton Blue Jays. Team of the Week, Michigan, 23 days, couldn't play. Come back, down 14. They win at Wisconsin to prove, after we saw the top 16 over the weekend, they deserve to be a number 1 seed. Looked a little dicey in the first half, and every team has come back differently off of these pauses. This is a case where Michigan only needed a half to sort of reset. We've seen teams like Clemson, which took games, Texas, now starting to turn things around. Florida State had the scare with Wake Forest in overtime. We'll see if that in their game Monday night against Virginia, how that goes after having a little bit more time. Louisville is going to come off a pause. How are they going to behave? Baylor, same thing in a week's time. So every team is reacting differently. Michigan, for example, couldn't do anything. There were no positive cases on Michigan. This was a Michigan athletic department directive because of the UK variant. They shut down everything. Sometimes what we've seen with these pauses is only those that are contact traced or positive, they obviously are kept away, and the rest of the team can practice in some form or fashion. That was not the case with Michigan. So that's why it's even more impressive what they did when they came back on Sunday. And Hunter Dickinson, he had 15 boards. Nate Reavers and Micah Potter, double bagel, 0, no boards. Significant for Hunter Dickinson and Michigan. So when you look at the Power 36 and the AP poll, no change, top four seeds. Illinois right there on the doorstep, scare with Nebraska. Would have been interesting to see what the selection committee would have done had they lost Friday night. Would that have bumped them further down? Villanova, you could argue with me that I've still got them in the top 10. They are 10 in AP poll. But look, to me, a road loss at Creighton is not a bad thing at all. It happens in conference play. Oklahoma, Virginia, Iowa, all playing much better. Alabama, once again, you could argue they're top 10 for AP. I have them just outside. I'm still a fan of Texas Tech overall. I got them a little higher. USC, I've got it 15, 17 for AP. Missouri, maybe I'm a little too high on them after they lost 2 last week. And I'm just trying to look here. San Diego State, that's a good one I probably should have included in the Power 36. They're playing very well. I appreciate the AP poll. Posting them. I have Loyola Chicago and Drake. Drake, without Hempel, they end up still splitting that series with Loyola Chicago. I thought Wisconsin was a little high because they didn't look good in the latter part of the second half, so I penalized them for it. And Arkansas cracking the top 25. They're just outside for me. I had VCU just a hair ahead of them. I got Seton Hall back in the good graces. Maryland with their win over Minnesota. Kansas now has won 3 straight. And look at that. I actually had Kansas ahead of the AP poll. I had 21, they had 23. And I'm high on Rutgers, at least more so than the AP poll. On Tuesday, this is now a weekly thing throughout the rest of this month, I will have our latest March Madness bracket. That will be posted on Tuesday. So you'll be able to check that out as well. A lot of cancellations, or I should say postponements this week. Nothing to do with COVID. Weather-related. We're already seeing that in the Big 12 with this epic storm that's hitting Texas and Oklahoma, that games involving Texas Tech and TCU have been pushed back. Oklahoma, their game has been pushed back with Texas, all because of the storm. Not used to this kind of snow and ice that they're getting in Texas and Oklahoma. All right. Tim Dreyer asks, is Connecticut in if they beat Villanova this week? Yes, they put that. Well, first of all, giving this away, they're in my bracket. So yes, in the rankings, yes, if that happens. Barry wants to know if Syracuse is in. Not yet. Still a lot of work to do. Alice wants to know how come Baylor stays up so high when they have not played since February 2nd. Well, it's the same treatment we gave Villanova when they were on their 3-week pause, same treatment we gave Michigan during their 3-week pause. You can't penalize teams that aren't playing. we have to deal with what we saw right before they stopped. And with Baylor, they were closer to Gonzaga than they were outside of the top four. So I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping them in the top two. Steve wants to know who my coach of the year pick is. It's going to be very interesting. Good question, Steve. Mark Few, Gonzaga. Scott Drew, Baylor. Juwan Howard, Michigan. Chris Holtmann, Ohio State. Right there, that's 4. Lon Kruger, Oklahoma. That's 6. I think Huggs has done a great job at West Virginia. Nate Oates at Alabama. So all these guys are deserving. Mike Young from Virginia Tech certainly should be considered. Casey Alexander from Belmont. I would say I'm right there with Few and Juwan Howard. Probably one of those two at this juncture. If I had to pick one, I would pick Mark Few at this moment. Because remember, he still put this team together kind of on the fly in the schedule. I mean, Jalen Suggs, obviously, big-time recruit. Aaron Cook was an ad. Andrew Nemhard was an ad. Kept Corey Kispert didn't keep him from going pro, but obviously he decided to stay. Same with Joel Ayayi. And they've had multiple red shirts. So he put this whole thing together. The whole schedule was completely done on the fly. Tony Bennett says, Sarah, another one that certainly would be in consideration. Jared wants to know when I'm going to stop picking against Michigan. Start this week. So another promotional item, our March Madness 365 podcast. I'll be joined by Chris Holtmann from Ohio State. And then Kevin Pauga from KPI, Associate Athletic Director at Michigan State, and Joe Lenardi from ESPN's Bracketology. They will both join me to break down the top 16 reveal, which I had 15 of the 16. I thought USC should have been in there, not Texas, based on recent play, but I'm fine with it. USC's right there on the doorstep to potentially get in. And in the Katz ranks, I will look at top 10 teams that potentially could make that next step and get in. Who do I think will win the Big Ten? I think it's still going to be Michigan. They got to play that Illinois game, though. They must schedule that Illinois game that was missed this past week. Have to. Let's take a couple more. Mike wants to know who my Final Four is. At this juncture, Gonzaga, Baylor. I feel more faith, believe it or not, in Illinois than I do Ohio State. So I will go Illinois. So maybe I'm picking against Michigan because I don't see that. I feel like there's going to be another team like in Oklahoma that gets in there. I would put more in Oklahoma, maybe a USC or Florida State. I think it's going to be one of those kinds of teams that was outside the top 10 when we started the season. So Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, and then one outside the top 10. Steve wants to know if West Virginia can make a 2 seed. And the answer is yes. They're going to have opportunities. They can climb that high. Carmen says, am I back on the Illinois bandwagon? I was never off. Never off the bandwagon. Shane wants to know who's the biggest dark horse in 2021. Well, I think it could be Loyola Chicago out of the Valley. They could certainly be one of those teams. Wouldn't be shocked if it's a team like a Maryland out of the Big Ten that's finishing deeper in the league. Could be an Ole Miss, which is playing really well right now. It's come out of nowhere. That wouldn't shock me either. Maybe it's one of the Mountain West teams like San Diego State. It's crazy. Boise State, which has been the favorite all season, they're the team that has slid back within the rankings with even the conference because of the losses they had up against Nevada. But I still wouldn't rule them out from making a run and getting in. Clay says I'm sleeping on Houston. I'm not all in on Houston. I'll admit it. I'm not. The loss to East Carolina was a big red flag to me. 2 teams from the Valley, Paul? Yes, that's where I'm leaning right now at this juncture. Most underrated team, says Tristan. Maybe it's San Diego State from the Mountain West Conference. Maybe it is Ole Miss. They're playing great right now. So maybe we include them in that list. The fact Drake is where they are is significant.